The school library was a sanctuary of silence, filled with the soft rustling of pages and the occasional creak of wooden chairs. Haruto, a diligent senior, was seated at a corner table, his brow furrowed as he pored over a stack of textbooks. His tie was slightly loosened, and his blazer hung over the back of his chair. Across the room, Ari, a soft-spoken junior, was browsing the shelves. Her pleated skirt swayed gently as she moved, and her white blouse was neatly tucked in, accentuating her figure. She glanced over at Haruto, her cheeks flushing slightly as she noticed how focused he was. Ari approached Haruto's table, clutching a book to her chest. "Excuse me," she said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. "Do you mind if I sit here? All the other tables are full." Haruto looked up, momentarily startled. "Oh, sure," he replied, gesturing to the empty chair. Across from him, "Go ahead." As Ari sat down, their eyes met for a brief moment, and something unspoken passed between them. The air seemed to grow warmer, the silence more intimate. Hours passed, and the library grew quieter as students left for the day. Haruto and Ari remained, their focus gradually shifting from their books to each other. Haruto couldn't help but notice how the fading sunlight illuminated Ari's features, casting a golden glow on her skin. "You've been studying for a while," Ari said, breaking the silence. "What are you working on?" Haruto smiled. "Just preparing for exams." "What about you?" "I was looking for a book on classical literature," she replied, her voice soft and melodic. "But I got distracted." "Distracted?" Haruto raised an eyebrow. Ari hesitated, then smiled shyly. By you, a few days later, a sudden rainstorm trapped them in the library after school. The sound of rain tapping against the windows created a cozy, secluded atmosphere. Haruto and Ari found themselves alone, the rest of the students having left earlier. "Looks like we're stuck," Haruto said, glancing out the window. "I don't mind," Ari replied, her voice barely audible. They sat together on a cushioned bench by the window, their shoulders brushing lightly. The tension between them was palpable, each moment stretching longer than the last. As the rain continued to fall, Haruto turned to Ari. "Ari," he began, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "I've been wanting to tell you something." Ari's heart raced. "What is it?" Haruto took a deep breath. "I can't stop thinking about you. Every time I see you, it's like everything else fades away." Ari's eyes widened, her cheeks flushing. "Haruto, Before she could finish, he leaned in, his lips capturing hers in a kiss that was both tender and electric. The world outside faded away, leaving only the two of them, lost in the moment. The next day, they walked to school together, their hands brushing discreetly as they entered the gates. The hallways buzzed with the usual chatter, but for Haruto and Ari, everything felt different. They shared secret smiles and lingering glances, their connection now undeniable. As the day went on, Ari found herself replaying the previous afternoon in her mind. The way Haruto's hands had felt on her skin, the way his lips had tasted, it was intoxicating. She knew this was just the beginning of something beautiful.